All right, today we are factoring trinomials when a is equal to 1. So we have factored polynomials by finding the greatest common factor. We have factored a difference of squares, which I can only do when it's a binomial and both are perfect squares. And we have factored by grouping. Can only be used when I have a 4-term polynomial. Well, what about factoring trinomials in standard form? So the standard form of a quadratic function is ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is the coefficient to my quadratic term, and b is the coefficient to my linear term, and c is my constant. So a is the coefficient to my quadratic term, and it is a quadratic term because it has an exponent of 2. B is the coefficient to my linear term because it has an exponent of 1. And C is my constant because it don't have no variable. So this is important for what we're about to learn. So to factor a trinomial in standard form, I have a couple of things to follow. All right. So x squared plus 7x plus 12. I need to identify what my a, b, and c values are. A is equal to 1 because in front of a variable, if I don't have a number, it's known to be a. B is equal to a positive 7. The signs are going to be important. And C is equal to 12, a positive 12. So I need to multiply A times C. And if I multiply 1 times 12, I get 12. Then I need to list the factors of A times C, which is 12. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. I need to determine which pair of these factors has a sum of my B term, which means which pair of my factors from multiplying A times C is going to add up to give me my B value of a positive 7. So I already know I can't add 1 and 12, no way to give me 7, or 2 and 6. So my only option would be 3 and 4. Now I'm going to rewrite my B term using 3 and 4. So I have x squared I'm going to rewrite positive 7x with 3 and 4, which would be 3x and 4x, because if I add them together, they will give me 7x. Bring down my plus 12. So I need to know what my signs will be that's going to make this term positive if I add them. So positive 3 and positive 4. Now I have a 4-term polynomial, just like yesterday. So we're going to factor by grouping. Group my first set and my second set. Now I need to factor out my greatest common factor between x squared and 3x, which would be x. Well, when I factor out x from x squared and 3x, what am I left with? X plus 3. Bring down my positive sign. Now I need to find my greatest common factor between 4 and 12. So 1 and 4, 2 and 2. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. My greatest common factor between those numbers are 4, just 4. So I can factor out 4. Well, when I factor out 4 from 4x plus 12, what do I get? X plus 3. If we notice, I have twins. That means my twin gets a binomial, and what is left over gets a binomial. And this is the factored form of x plus x. This is the factored form of x squared plus 7x plus 12. If you notice anything about my numbers 4 and 3, 4 and 3 multiply to give me a positive 12. And 4 and 3 add to give me a positive 7. All right, x squared minus 13x plus 12. My a term is 1 because there is no number in front of my quadratic term. My b term is a negative 13 because that is the number in front of x. And my constant is a positive 12. So if I multiply a times c, I get 12. Factored pairs of 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. I need to determine which pair of these numbers are going to add to give me b. Well, can't do 3 and 4, can't do 2 and 6. So my only option here is 1 and 12. So I can rewrite my middle term with 1 and 12. Because if I combine them in some kind of way, I should get 13. But what would my signs be? In order for me to add these and be able to get a negative 13, both of my terms would have to be negative, because negative 1 plus negative 12 is negative 13. Now I can factor by grouping. If I factor out from my first set, x squared minus x, my greatest common factor between the two is x. So if I factor out a x, what does that leave me? With x minus 1. Bring down my subtraction sign. Now between 12x and 12. Factors of 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. Factors of 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. What is the greatest common factor between 12 and 12? It's 12, so I can factor it out. Well, if I factor out negative 12, what does that leave me? With x, and positive 12 divided by negative 12 is a negative 1. I have some twins. So my twins get a binomial. And what is left over gets a binomial. So if you notice anything about 12 and 1, about negative 12 and a negative 1, negative 12 times negative 1 is a positive 12. Negative 12 plus negative 1 is negative 13. And this is the factored form of x squared minus 13x plus 12. If you need help with more examples, be sure to ask me in class.